students, welcome back to our next lecture. Today we are going to start the binomial nomenclature. So up till now we have seen the taxonomic hierarchy. What is taxonomy? What are the different types of that is hierarchy is there? What are the rules, principles behind that hierarchy? So all these things we have discussed earlier. So now the one part of this taxonomy is the very important part, that you can say, that is binomial nomenclature. So this binomial nomenclature, it is nothing but, that is, nomenclature means the function of taxonomy is three: classification, nomenclature and identification. So nomenclature is nothing but to give the name to a particular plant. So plant binomial nomenclature, it is different to the zoological binomial nomenclature. So it is the naming of the plant, or to give a particular specific scientific name to a particular plant, is the nomenclature. And binomial means every species or every plant has its two names, that is, one is genus and the other is species name. So the two name is given, that's why it is known as the binomial. So bi means two and binomial, that is two names they are given to a particular plant, it is known as binomial nomenclature. So it is very important part of the taxonomy. So without nomenclature, without giving the name to a particular plant, we cannot, or anyone cannot do the further things related with that plants. So it should be. So it must be necessary to give the name, or to give the, that is, the nomenclature is very important part of the taxonomy. Okay, so let's start with the binomial nomenclature. So there are various ranks of classification. So you can say the descending and ascending order, we have seen earlier that from species up to the kingdom, it is the, these are the categories or taxon, you can say. So there are a certain levels. So species is the lowest level rank and the kingdom is the highest level. So above the species there is a genus, then above the genus there is family, then order, then class, then division, then kingdom, or all these things. So this is the rank of classification. Okay, so there are some major categories are present. So these are, that is, every individual plant is treated as belonging to a number of categories. So one particular plant is placed in that particular categories which belongs to a different ranks. Okay, so for example, say hibiscus rosa sinensis, it is a there is hibiscus plant, you can, in Marathi it is called jaswan. So जास्वंदाचं जे प्लांट आहे त्याला जेव्हा आपण क्लासिफाय करतो, वेन वी क्लासिफाय दिस हिबिस्कस रोजा सायनेन्सिस, वी हॅव टू कीप इट in mind that it has a various, it is included in various ranks. That means the rosa sinensis is included in the species is rosa sinensis, then genus is hibiscus, then family is that is malvaceae, then order rosales, all this is the rank of this, that each every individual plant is treated as belonging to a number of categories, that is successively higher rank with the species as the basic unit. So from basic up to the kingdom, it has the categories. Okay, so every plant, every individual plant has its specific level of categories. So they are belonging to a number of categories of successively higher rank with the species as the basic unit. So from higher to lower, or lower to higher. So higher rank is kingdom and the lowest rank is the species. Okay, and these categories must always follow the same relative position in hierarchy. These categories, that means species, genus, family, order, class, division, they follow the same relative position in hierarchy. So we have discussed about the hierarchy. In hierarchy, the order that is placed, these categories, they are placed in their according to their level. So species is the lowest, then genus, then family, then order, then class, like that. Okay, so the name of every taxonomic group should end in a certain manner. So species and genus, they are the two that is different things, that is they are the binomial. Okay, but family, then above the that is genus, family, then order, then class, then division, all these categories or this taxonomic group, you can say, they should end in a certain manner. That means they have specific suffix or endings. Okay, so for example, in case of family, the CEAE is the end of any name of that family. So for example, Malvaceae, so Malvaceae, so it ends with CEAE. Okay, so every category or every taxonomic group has its specific suffix or specific ending. So for example, division, it ends with phyta. Okay, so order, it ends with ALES, like that. Okay, so it has every group has or should end in a particular or a certain manner. Okay, so the main categories in their descending order and the stipulated endings are, for example, let us see division. Yes, division is phyta, PHYTA. So phyta, for example, Magnoliophyta. Okay, so the Magnoliophyta, Magnolio, and it ends with phyta. When it ends with phyta, it is included in division. Okay, so the division is Magnoliophyta. It always, any division is always end with this suffix, that is PHYTA. Okay, then class, it always end with OPSIDA, that means Opsida. So Magnoliopsida. So Magnoliophyta, it becomes division. Opsida, Magnoliopsida means it is included in class. So the class always end with the suffix opsida. Okay, then subclass. Subclass is we have seen in our earlier lecture that every major categories has its subcategories also. That is division, then subdivision, then class, subclass, order, suborder, family, subfamily, then tribe, subtribe. All these things they have mentioned, that is major, all the major categories, they also have the subcategories also. Okay, so the class is always end with opsida. Then come to the subclass. Then subclass has its end, that is IDEA, IDEA, that is Magnolidae, IDE, ED. ED is the ending of any subclass. Okay, whatever may be the former name is, it will vary, but it will always, it should be always end with a specific, that is जे कोणतंही फॉर्मरली कोणतंही नाव, मॅग्नोलियोच्या ऐवजी दुसरंही असू शकतं, पण कोणतंही नाव घेतलं तरी त्याचं एंडिंग हे स्पेसिफिकच असेल. जर तो सबक्लास असेल तर त्याचे एंडिंग IDEA नीच एंड होणार. हे लक्षात येत आहे. क्लास असेल तर OPSIDA नीच एंड होणार. डिव्हिजन असेल तर PHYTA फायटानीच एंड होणार. आलं लक्षात. त्याचप्रमाणे ऑर्डर, ऑर्डर ऑलवेज एंड विथ अ सफिक्स दॅट इज ALES. सो दॅट इज Malvaceae. Malvaceae is the order because it ends with ALES. Then suborder is always end with a suffix INEAE. So for example, Chenopodini. So Chenopod, that is CHINOPOD. Okay, and it ends with INEAE. Okay, Chenopodini. Then family, Polygonaceae. It ends with CEAE. Okay, Polygone, Polygona, and then ends with CEAE, that is Polygonaceae. So it always, family is always end with a suffix that is CEAE. Okay, then subfamily is that is should end with a suffix that is OI DEAE. For example, Panicoideae. Okay, oideae means Panicoideae is the subfamily. Then tribe. Tribe is always end with AEAE. So for example, Phyllanths, PHYLLANTH, then EAE, Phyllanths. Then subtribe is always end with INEAE, Rutini. For example, Rutini, RUTINEAE is the end. So it is a specific for specific category, for specific taxonomic group. So division has its specific suffix, class has its specific suffix. So as subclass, order, suborder, family, subfamily, tribe, subtribe, they all have their specific, that is ending or suffix. Okay, so it should end with a specific ending or suffix. Okay, the names of taxonomic groups which do not conform to these endings. So some of the groups which do not show or do not conform to these endings, they should change accordingly. If there is no endings in that taxonomic group as like this, then they can be or they should be changed accordingly. Then example, Magnoliaceae. Magnoliaceae is now amended as Magnoliopsida. That means Opsida means class. So the class formerly it is known as the Magnoliaceae. Okay, but it is not end with the Opsida, then it is converted into Magnoliopsida. Okay, so if there was if there are some taxonomic groups which do not end with that particular suffix, then it should be changed according to that suffix. For example, Liliaceae as Liliopsida. So formerly it is known as Liliaceae, that is class Liliaceae, but class is always end with Opsida, then it changed into Liliopsida. Okay, so if there is not if any group which do not conform to these endings, then it should be changed accordingly. Okay, so all these rules, they are present in the articles 16 to 27 of the code, that is International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. This includes these types of rules that we have seen here. So this article number 16 to 27 has there is a mention of this about these rules. Okay, so if you read the International Code of Botanical Nomenclature, then you see in the 16 to 27 articles, you come to know all these types of rules. Okay, so after that, there are various types of rules are there for the binomial nomenclature. The assignment of names to plants is called nomenclature. Okay, so nomenclature is nothing but to give a specific scientific name to a particular plant. So that is the assignment of names to a plant. Okay, and why it is so? Why the plant is given the scientific name? Because to avoid the confusion of local names. As you know that local peoples, we have many types of languages in our country. Okay, so there are different types of languages. So all peoples that they use their specific language for telling something about a specific plant. For example, mango. If Marathi people says amba, then Hindi people says aam, then English people says mango. All these, that is, there are different types of languages and different types of local names of that particular plant. So one can get confused to hear the name of all these different names in different languages. So to avoid this confusion, to give a particular specific and one worldwide, that is universally accepted scientific name to a particular plant, then it will avoid the confusion, and it is easy for all the peoples, all the researchers who are interested in doing the research, interested in doing a particular thing to that particular plant. Okay, So to avoid the confusion of local languages, name of that languages, then this binomial nomenclature, it will make easy for the people to understand uh, the particular that is understand a particular language, by which they can understand that this plant, that they are saying about this plant. Okay, so this is about the why the nomenclature is necessary. Okay, so nomenclature and classification, they always go hand in hand because they are inseparable. When you do the classification, so you have to know the name of that plant. Okay, so and when you classify that plant, that means when the placement of any plant or group of plants in a particular scheme of classification, when you want to put that plant in a particular that is scheme of that classification, you you must know the name of that plant. You must be that is or you should know the name of that plant. Okay, so then you can classify that particular plant in a particular scheme of classification. Okay, so if you don't know the name of mango tree or hibiscus tree, then how can you put that tree or this plant into a particular levels, in a particular levels of this classification? So no, if you first think that the first main thing of the classification is to know the particular plant name of that plant, and then only you put that plant into a particular categories or a particular taxon. Okay, so this is necessary, that is nomenclature is necessary for the classification. Hence the classification and nomenclature, they go hand in hand. Okay, so they are inseparable. Then now nomenclature is controlled by a set of laws developed and adopted by the International Botanical Congress. So this International Botanical Congress, I have mentioned in my previous lecture that there is a meeting of International Botanical Congress after every 5 or 10 years. So in that meeting, they discuss about the newly found plants and about their nomenclature. So this and they have setting the some type of rules so about how to give the name to a plant, to a particular plant. What are the rules and principles behind that plants, which principles and that is rules have to follow. All these are written in that is discussed and sanctioned in the International Botanical Congress meeting. So this nomenclature is controlled by the set of laws that is developed by this or in this meeting by International Botanical Congress. Okay, so each plant has a pair of names. It means binomial means to give up two names to a particular plant, that means a pair of name. Okay, so before that, before the binomial nomenclature system is that is coming of in the previous era, before that there is a polynomial nomenclature system. So what does it mean? Polynomials means it is composed of 3 or 4 words. In binomial there are only 2 words, but in polynomials there are more than 2 words are present or used while giving the name to a plant. For example, Salix, Pumila, Angustifolia, Altera. So there are 1, 2, 3 and 4 words given to a particular that is plant. So it is very difficult to remember these 4 names of a single plant. That means if there is a short one particular or two particular words we can remember, but these that is long name we are hardly we can hardly remember that. So it is very tedious and it is very difficult to remember and to deal with the plant this related plant. So this polynomial nomenclature system is failed. It is not practically applicable. That's why this binomial nomenclature system, it was then extensively used and established by the great Swedish botanist, that is Carl Linnaeus. And you also know that Carl Linnaeus is also known as the father of taxonomy, because he is doing or he has done a very great work in the field of taxonomy. That's why he is known as the father of taxonomy. This binomial nomenclature system, he established that system. Okay, so that then it will be easy for us to remember the scientific name of any particular plant. Okay, so the Carl Linnaeus, he introduced this binomial nomenclature system. Okay, he is a Swedish botanist. Then according to this binomial nomenclature system, the classification name of any plants is in two parts. So the name of which are these two parts, that is, first one is the genus name or the generic name, you can say. Then the second name is the specific epithet or the species name. Okay, so the first name is always a genus or generic name, and the second name is always a species name. Okay, so every plant has two names. Okay, that is generic and species name. And along with that two names, there is always a presence of one more thing, that is, it is must for after giving the name to a plant, that is, the scientific name must be followed by the third element. When we give the scientific name, that is two names, genus and the species name, to a particular plant, but this scientific name is again followed by the third element. Which is this third element? That is the name of the person or persons who formerly described and named the plant. That person worked on that plant, and he had given the name to a particular plant. That first person, those person, that is, who first discovered or who worked on that particular plant and who gave the name to a particular that plant, the name of that author must be should have to write after the scientific name. After writing the scientific name, that author name should also be written. Okay, for example, Mangifera indica, that is the mango plant. This Mangifera is the genus name, indica is the species name, and Linnaeus, or simply abbreviation, that is L dot. So it is written in that manner: Mangifera, indica, then author name. So three things, they are present in scientific name in binomial nomenclature. That is, genus and species name is there, and along with that genus and species name, author name should be mentioned there. So it should be written that is whole spelling, or it should be written in abbreviated form. Okay, so the Mangifera, indica, Linnaeus, or L, simply L. Okay, this binomial, that is the binomial, it should be easy, simple, it is simple to pronounce and meaningful. So binomial nomenclature is easy to remember also, it is easy to pronounce also, it is very simple. Okay, because there is a meaning, it is meaning that is present in that words. Okay, so it is meaningful also. For example, Helianthus anus. So Helianthus is the genus name and anus is the species name. So what does it mean? These words indicates the meaning. That is, Helios means sun, and anthos means Helianthus. The bifurcation of Helianthus is Helios and anthos. So Helios means sun and anthos means flower. So what does it mean? Sunflower. So we quickly get the that is, we quickly get, or we that is, the concept is that is, concept is very clear by hearing this, by getting the meaning of that word. Okay, so this is the sunflower, that is Helianthus anus is nothing but the sunflower plant. So helios means sun and anthos means flower. And what does the meaning of anise? That anise means annual plant. So it is the description, a little description, a short description of a particular plant. So sunflower, which is an annual plant. Okay, so it is very meaningful. Again, some examples are there. For example, asparagus racemosus. So asparagus, this asparago means sharp. Asparagus, meaning of this as genus name is sharp. And racemosus meaning is bearing racemose inflorescence. So asparagus means the plant which bears a sharp spine and racemose inflorescence. So this plant, we can get the idea about this plant by knowing the name of that, that is binomial name of that plant. So asparagus means spine, sharp spine, and racemose means bearing racemose inflorescence. The shatavari, that is asparagus, is a plant which contains or which bears a sharp spine and which shows the inflorescence, that is racemose inflorescence. Okay, so this is the meaning of some of the that is words which are taken for giving the name to a particular plant. Okay, again one example is there, that is Calicarpa lunata. So simply hearing the Calicarpa lunata, we don't get the anything, but when we see the meaning of that word, that means what is kalos and what is carpa. So kalos means beautiful. It is a Latin language. Okay, so Latin language is very specific and it is very meaningful. Every word has its specific meaning. Okay, so the kalos is beautiful and the carpa is fruit. That means beautiful fruit. And what is the meaning of lunata? Lunata means woolly. So the overall meaning is plants with beautiful fruits covered by woolly hairs. We can imagine that fruit, that is the beautiful fruit which is covered by a woolly hairs. When we see that fruit, we quickly get the or quickly remember the name of that fruit, that is Calicarpa lunata. When we know the meaning, when in study also, when we understand the meaning of what we study, okay, what we will study, when we get the meaning of each and every word, then it is simple for us to remember. Okay, after understanding the meaning of any syllabus or any part of your syllabus, then it will be easy for you to remember that things. Okay, so before that is memorizing, you have to simply know or understand the meaning what you read. Okay, so like that every word has a meaning, and after knowing the meaning, it is easy for us to remember, to imagine that plant. Okay, so this is about the binomial, how the binomial nomenclature works. Okay, then let's see one by one. First is the generic name. What is the rules and what it includes? So generic names, in case of generic name, it is always written first with an initial capital letter. Okay, generic name is always stand first, or it is always written first, and it always stand or it always start with a initial capital letter. So in case of Mangifera indica, you can see here all the names, that is Mangifera, then Helianthus, then Asparagus, then Calicarpa. Every genus name starts with a capital letter and it is written first. Then the second name is species name. Then we will see later, that is species name is always start with a small letter and it is written next to the genus name. Okay, so the genus name is the name which is always written first before the species name, and it starts with a capital letter. Okay, and it is singular Latinized noun. All these names, they are in Latin language and they are in singular form. Okay, so generic name if contains two names, then they should be joined by hyphen. If the generic name has two names, okay, 1 and 2, so it should be joined, it must be joined by a small dash, or you can say the hyphen in between these two. Okay, then the name may be taken from any source, or it may commemorate some great person. So this generic name, when the author wants to give a particular generic name to a particular plant, he can use any source, or he can give the name by taking anything from any source of that plant body, or he can give the name on the basis of the authors who described it. So the name may be taken from any source, or it may be commemorate some great person. So he can give the name which belongs to a great person. Okay, so for example, the genus Linnea is named after Linnaeus. So it is a that is a, you can say, to give a honor to a particular author, particular person, the name is given on the basis of the name of that person. Okay, for example, the Linnaeus is the father of taxonomy, and one genus get this name on the basis of this Linnaeus. Okay, so then second one is Caesalpinia. Caesalpinia is the name of a particular plant, that is, you can say, in a Caesalpinia pulcherrima is there, it is a Shankasur. So Caesalpinia is named after an Italian botanist, Cesare Pino. Cesare Pino, who was an botanist, and after that the name is given to a particular plant, that is Caesalpinia. Okay, then Bauhinia. Bauhinia, it has the Bauhinia leaves. You see the kanchan, that is a plant, कचनार और कंचन से किंवा दसऱ्याला जे सोनं वाटतं तुम्ही आपट्याचं झाड म्हणतो आपण. सो दॅट प्लांट हॅज द लीव्स विच हॅज टू लोब्स, bilobed leaves, you can say that this type of lobes are there, 1 and 2 lobes. So this Bauhinia plant has the leaves which shows the bilobed structure. Okay, so this Bauhinia, the name to that plant is given on by that is to give the honor to a twin Bowen brothers. These Bowen brothers who discovered, I think, the airplane. Okay, so this name of this plant, that is two twins brothers are there, Bowen brothers, and so this leaf is also a twin like structure, that is two lobes which are joined each other. So this plant that is get its name on the by the honor of these Bowen brothers. Okay, so this generic name which indicates some distinctive morphological features also. So this is the example ki how these plants get their name according to the honor of the various persons. Okay, also generic name which some of the generic name which also indicates some distinctive morphological features of that plant. So that name, the generic name, includes some of the characteristics. So meaning of that generic name, it shows the characteristic features of a particular that plant. Okay, so for example, the name Hepatica. Hepatica, which is derived from the Latin word known for the liver. So it is used for liver. Okay, so in Latin language it is used liver, the name of liver is known as Hepatica. So which indicates liver like leaves of that plant. So the shape of that leaf of that plant is liver shaped. Okay, that's why it has given the name, that is Hepatica. Then bidens. Bidens means it indicates the sharp points. So the meaning of Latin word bidens is two sharp points. Then asteroxylon. Asteroxylon, aster means star. Okay, and xylon means xylem. So star shaped xylem when present in that particular asteroxylon plant, hence the name is given according to that. Okay, so asteroxylon. So the generic name is taken from any source, any morphological, it shows, indicates any morphological characters. It is the honor of some of the great persons also. So there are many sources. It is not, restriction is not there, so anyone can give the particular name as he he wants. Okay, so this is about the generic name. Now let's see the specific epithet or species name. Okay, so it is often adjective form. In the case of generic name, it is that is you can say singular form, and this species name is the adjective form. Okay, it is always written after the generic name. Yes, so first is the generic name and the species is the second name after written in after the generic name, and it is always start with the small initial letter. So it is the opposite to the generic name, that generic name is always starts with a capital letter, and the species name is always start with a that is small letter. Okay, so the capital letters may be used in case of species when we see that like generic name, species name also written in capital letter, but when this capital letter they may be used when derived from a person's name. When this specific name is that is which is derived from a person's name, then to give the honor to that person's, and always the person's name is always starts with a capital letter, hence this name is also start with the capital letter. So for example, Pinus roxburghi. So roxburghi is the botanist, and after that this species name is given to a particular plant, hence it is written in capital letter. So generic name and the species name in that case is both, they are initiated with the capital letter. Okay, then it may be derived from any source, like that of the generic name. Species name is also derived from any source and may honor a person, or they may be derived from an old common name also. Okay, so there are various sources that it may be derived from that is any source, that is it may be a geological locations, it may be the characteristics of that plant, or the you can say the various sources are there. So it may be honor of a person, or it may be derived from old common name also. So this for example, specific, if you indicate a specific characteristics of that plant, then see some examples are there. That is relative abundance of a plant. Relative abundance, when we want to show the abundance of that, म्हणजे संख्या म्हणतो आपण त्याला, किती प्रमाणात आहे. So when we want to show the abundance of that plant, then we give the specific meaningful Latin word, use this Latin word to give the name, species name to that plant. So for example, rara, rara. So rara, meaning of that rara is rare. So if when we give a particular rara name to a particular plant species, then it is mentioned that it indicates that this species, it becomes rare, that they are not found in large quantity, they are they are found in rare form. Okay, so the name suggests the abundance, or the name indicates the how much quantity, or how much that is abundantly they are present on the earth. Okay, vulgaris means common. So when the species name is vulgaris, then this plant is common, it is commonly found in everywhere, that is its abundance is more. Okay, so the name indicates the some relative abundance of that plant. Okay, then the next character is color. So color of the plant, it when some words when we use, it indicates the color of plants. For example, alba means white, and nigra means black. So the some of the species, that is alba, then nigra is given, then that species is white in color, or nigra means black in color. Okay, then rubra means red, purpurea means purple, viridis means green. So these are the words which indicates color of that particular plant. That means that plant has a particular character which shows this which shows various types of, that is, colors. Okay, so some of the plants they are white flower, some of the plants they shows the black color something, that is organ present in that plant. Some have the red, some have purple, green, all that is any source, that is color. So then again habitat is one of the indicator, that is where these plants that is they live, or what kind of habitat they share. Okay, so the habitat means aquatica. Aquatica means those plants which are present in water. So aquatica indicates the presence of that plants in the water, that means indicates its habitat. Hortensis means in garden, that means these plants they are present in garden. Hortensis, when it ends with the species name is hortensis, then it indicates that this type of plants they are present in garden. It is a horticulturist plant. Okay, so then region, it also indicates the region also where the plant is found. Example, indica, if it the species name is indica, then it is found in India. Then chinensis, it is found in China. Americana, it is found in Americana. All these, that is country's name, if the species has the country's name, then it indicates where that plant found, in which region or which country. Okay, then size of the plant, it also indicates the size of the plant, that is when it is mentioned gigantea, then it means it is large tree. Okay, then come to the utility of that plants. Edulis, when it is edulis, the species name is edulis, then it indicates that it is edible. Okay, other traits are also we can use for giving the name of the species, that is religious, then that is religiosa, that means religious, that is this plant mm, uh, that is this people plant and these banyan trees, they give the that is species name is religiosa. Okay, so the religiosa, it means religious. Then fetida, fetida means ill scented. So this the flower has the ill scented flower, that means hence they given the name fetida. So every word has its meaning. So every that is word which is used for the species name or which is used for the generic name has some of the sources and some of the characteristics in them, so that the meaningful, they are always meaningful, and we can remember that name after knowing his knowing their meaning. Okay, so this is about the how the generic name is given and how the specific name is given, what are the rules, what are the sources. Okay, so all these they are mentioned in this that is binomial nomenclature, and all these laws they are decided by the Indian Botanical Congress. Okay, so this is about the binomial nomenclature of the how the generic name and the species name. Now both this specific name and the generic name, they must be underlined. Now what are the rules while writing or while typing this generic and specific name? So when we when we are that is written by hand, then it should be underlined. Both generic as well as specific name, it should be underlined separately, not a single underline, it should be underlined separately. That is generic name is underlined separately underlined, while species name is separately underlined. So both the specific name and the generic name must be underlined when written by hand, and when we type that name, then it must be typed in italic form, italic font. Okay, so in our laptop or in our phone, there is a font is given in word documents. So these it should be this generic and specific name, when you write or when you type, it should be type in italic font. Okay, then the authority is never underlined or in italic font. because each binomial nomenclature or giving the name to a plant, there are three elements: genus, then species, and then author name. So only the genus and the species name should be underlined. Author name, that is never underlined, or it is not written in type in italic font. Okay, so this is the rule while writing or while typing the generic and the specific name. Okay, so all must follow that rules while mentioning that name. Okay, now these names, they are always based on Latin language. Yes, because Latin language has been accepted at that time, or it becomes it is more accepted among the civilized peoples present at that time all over the world. So also Latin is very specific and exact in its meaning. It has no dual meanings. Okay, so it is a specific, it has a specific meaning, and it is a very meaningful language. It is very specific also. That's why Latin is all it is it is a universal language for giving the while using the nomenclature, in nomenclature. Okay, so these names, however, these names are not also taken from other languages. It is also Latinized. When the names of any plants is if it is taken from any other languages other than the Latin, but after that is after taking these names from the various languages, it is that names also Latinized. That means it is converted into a Latin language. Okay, so example, Indian scientists, they have used many Sanskrit words for naming the plants. Okay, for example, Tharupama. Tharupama means, Tharu means tree, and Upama means like. So tree like. When they give the name to a large tree, then they include the word that is Tharupama. It is a Sanskrit word that is tree like. Okay, then Kurcha Loma. Kurcha means brush. In Sanskrit, Kurcha means brush and Loma means hair. So when the plants shows the inflorescence which is brush like, okay, that is Callistomum or bottle brush plant is there, so their inflorescence is looks like a brush. Okay, so the name is given on the basis of that inflorescence, that they looks like a brush. Then Kurcha Loma, brush hair. Okay, then Dvaya Bija. Dvaya means two kinds, two. Okay, then Bij means seeds. So the two kinds of spores are there: microspores, megaspores, that is two types of spores are there, hence the name is given Dvaya Bija. Okay, and the scientific botanical names should be coined according to the rules of ICBN, that is International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. They have set the rules for giving the name to a particular plant for the nomenclature, and hence these names should be coined according to that rules. Okay, so this is about the binomial nomenclature. So how it works, what are their rules? There are the generic and the specific name is given, and this generic name is always written first and the specific name is written after generic name. Then this generic name is always initiated with a capital letter, whereas species name is always initiated with a small letter. Both the names, they are always underlined when handwritten, and when you type that name, then it should be typed in italic font. Author name should be that is mentioned after writing the generic and species name, and it should not be underlined or typed in italic font. So the author name is necessary to write after the scientific, that is the binomial name of the plant. Okay, so this is about some of the that is things which are related with the binomial nomenclature, and it is a very useful and necessary things in the classification, in the taxonomy, because classification and nomenclature, that is binomial nomenclature, they are go hand in hand. They are not separated, because every classification is based on nomenclature. After naming, after giving a name to a particular plant, then and then only you put that plant into a classification scheme. Okay, so this is about the binomial nomenclature, which is a part of the taxonomy. This is over, or this is end for this lecture. Then in our next lecture we will see the other part of the taxonomy. Okay, so if you have any question, if you have any doubt, please ask me, or please message me, or you can call me also. So if you uh, give me of some feedback that you, whether you can understand all these things or not, or which topic you cannot understand. So it needs which topic needs revision. So which topics you not clearly understand or not, all these things are there. So anything you can share with me, and you can message me, you can call me and give your feedback. Okay, thank you for today's lecture. Stay tuned with me for the next lecture. Thank you very much.